Aloha keikis. Oh, that's probably the wrong thing to say. You're not keikis anymore. All these years later, I should probably be calling you tutu wahinis instead. Okay, anyway, so glad to be able to communicate with you. Doug is so excited about this reunion, and I'm sorry I can't be there. But anyway, I have a few anecdotes of things that happened during our kindergarten years together, and I won't even mention names that could cause embarrassment. So I'm just going to reiterate some of the things. If you remember them, fine. If you don't, fine too. But one is actually Ray Pang, and I understand she has passed away. So she was just our girly girl in the kindergarten that year, and she was obsessed with how I looked every day. And she used to sit on the floor when I was reading a story and look at my toes. And she wanted to know why I did not color my toes. And so I told her I was too busy to keep up the maintenance of that. So she was funny, and she said, well, I'll do it at nap time. And you bring the polish, and I'll do it at nap time for her. Very sweet gal. Well, I never took advantage of her. Anyway, another little boy didn't like wearing his shoes to school. You know how we all came barefoot. And one day his mother told him he had to wear shoes because they were picking him up and going to some place that was going to require shoes. Well, he came clumping into the classroom with shoes that were way too big for him. Because you know, that was the one thing that got passed around from neighbor to neighbor and cousin to cousin. And shoes lasted years and years there, whoever could wear them, because they never wore out. They just weren't worn enough. And when he came with his shoes, he took them off, put them in the closet, and when it came time to going home, he forgot the shoes. And turned out his mother brought him back, and he says he couldn't find them. I won't even mention his name. Maybe somebody was feeling guilty right now, I don't know. But anyway, it turned out 2 years later they found his shoes buried in the sandbox. And when the maintenance man found the shoes, he says, do you know who these belong to? And I said, yes, I will tell him secretly. And I decided, no, I won't embarrass him with the whole thing. Plus, they were pretty much destroyed, having been in the wet sand for all these years. So, funny little story. And then remember the time when, I think it was this class, that had the parrot. Somebody brought a parrot to school in a cage for show and tell. And the parrot was talking to the person who brought it with the permission of the parents, and so on and so forth. Then when we were finished with show and tell, we put the parrot on the sink around the corner. And he was pretty much quiet for the rest of the time. Later in the morning, when we were doing some classroom work, Miss Wells came in, and she brought in some visitors from out of the country. And so they were observing what you were doing and what was going on in the classroom. And then, whatever reason, she didn't even know the parrot was there. Because she wasn't in the classroom all the way, she was out near the doorway. And it turns out that she said to the visitors, she was explaining what we were doing, then all of a sudden the parrot exploded. He says, damn it! And he just absolutely had everybody in stitches because he hadn't said anything like that. Turns out that this is a parrot that belonged to a construction crew. Construction crew people took advantage of taking care of him for 1 week at a time. And it was this little boy's family's turn. Anyway, it was kind of an embarrassment kind of thing, but it was also fun of laughter at the same time. A lot of you probably wonder where I am. I left Hawaii, met with my husband, kids were all away, and we moved to Coachella Valley. Most of you know Coachella, don't you? Anyway, yes. We live in the valley, and we came here because we were wanting to play golf. So we moved to PGA West, where a lot of tournaments are held, and where we played a lot of golf. And we moved from one place to another, depending upon what the situation was. And this is really where we've been for the last 32 years now. Anyway, my husband passed away a couple of years ago, and what we did then was I decided to go back to the traveling, which we had already started. And so I found a nice travel mate, and she and I went all over the world on cruises, land trips, and things of this nature. So what we did was what we wanted to do. So there was, I counted how many countries we'd gone to. It was 92 countries in about 10 years. And just the most wonderful experience. And would love to get back to it again sometime, but I've had some health issues more recently, so I've got to wait for my energy level to swing back again. But between playing golf and traveling, that was my life, and I've enjoyed it since. But I do miss Hawaii. I have been there several times since we moved, mostly for grandchildren weddings and things of this nature. But it was just a wonderful experience to always think about your class and all the other 30 classes that I had had. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience for me. I'm so happy to have had that experience at Kamehameha. And Doug has informed me of some of the things that you people have done over the years, including sending me pictures of the elementary school playground, the swings and the slides. Anyway, I thought, oh, you really are attached to that KSPD classroom area. Anyway, we had a wonderful time. I've had a great teaching experience there, and I'm still enjoying life as one can as a senior citizen, and that's the way it goes. Anyway, anytime you're in the Coachella Valley, I'm in Palm Desert. There are other cities here too: Palm Springs, Rancho Mirage, Cathedral City, Indian Wells, La Quinta, Indio, and more. Anyway, these are all wonderful cities, and this is a wonderful place to live as well. And I've enjoyed being here. If you ever find yourself here, Douglas has my telephone number, he has my email address. So I'd love to hear from all of you and what you're doing and what you've accomplished and all the things you've done, all about your families and things of this nature. So feel free to contact me at any time. Okay, aloha, bye-bye.